Good morning. It is video number 5 of my series of 31 videos for people who are interested in learning how to treat a glucose meter like a fuel gauge. It's time for me to get some coffee and to take my morning fasting glucose. Now I'm going to put the view of the 30-day challenge up on the screen so you can see that you don't have to take the morning fasting glucose this morning, but I like to take my morning fasting glucose every day, so that's what I'm going to do. Even though this is my 5th video, today is the 4th day of the 30-day challenge, and that's what you can see on the chart. So I'm gonna start my coffee here, and I'll be using my Dario meter to go ahead and take my morning fasting glucose in just a second. So get this poured. Okay, that's ready for me when I'm ready for it. And now pull out my meter and go to the DataDriven fasting app. No, sorry. I'm confusing myself. I take my morning fasting glucose with my Dario app. So that's what I need to do. Pull out some test strips. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And I'll take all the numbers and then I'll tell you what they are. So I won't make you sit through 5 test strips. Hold on a second. Okay, so I've got an 85. Yesterday, I had a morning fasting glucose of 82. So why would my morning fasting glucose be a little bit higher this morning than yesterday morning, even though I didn't do any late night eating last night, so there's no reason for it to be higher because of late night eating. My guess is that probably my body is letting off more glucose and being able to use it up, and so a 3-point difference from yesterday morning to this morning of morning fasting glucose is no big deal. If it were a big difference, like 10 points, then there would be probably a reason, like I ate late last night, sometimes I've eaten in the middle of the night, but the 3-point difference from yesterday to today is negligible, and I'm just assuming that my body is using up some stored glucose, and that's a good thing. I will put up a chart so you can see what to expect for healthy glucose ranges. They say anything under 100 morning fasting glucose is good, but I've also seen other resources that say, no, you want to be closer to, you want to be in the 80s. Some say it's even healthy to be in the 70s. So that's one of the confusing things about information available is the American Diabetes Association can have some numbers that seem high. Health advocates will have much lower numbers. So I'm really happy with my morning fasting glucose of 85 this morning. I've had it as low as 74, I think, once, and I like to be in the high 70s, low 80s. That's where I think is good for me. So I've got my coffee and I'm ready to start my day. I'm going to get showered and dressed, and I'll probably have my meal in the middle of the day, which is what I like to do. But I'll wait until I get hungry, and then I'll take my glucose and see what the reading is. Oh, that reminds me about something, just a second. In yesterday's video, I showed that because it was day 3 and because I entered a pre-meal glucose number, the DataDriven fasting app showed me my personalized hunger trigger. I did not choose to begin the hunger training process because I didn't want to lock in that number. It was a 79. So today, when I get hungry and I take my glucose to see what my number is and enter that as my pre-meal number, I'll see what it does to the personalized hunger setting number, whether it changes it up or down. I'll share that with you later on in this video, but right now it's time to get on with my day. The dryer just went off and I need to get cleaned up myself. I have an interesting situation going on. It is 4:30 in the afternoon and I have not gotten hungry yet today. But I know that if I continue on, I'm going to get hungry later this evening, maybe right before bedtime. And I do not want to eat late at night. I'm really a believer in eating earlier in the day when my metabolism is working a little more efficiently and my insulin, my body's more insulin sensitive. So even though I'm not hungry, I'm going to go ahead and eat. I just tested my glucose and I entered the number into the DataDriven Fasting app and it reset my trigger. Yesterday the trigger was sitting at 79, and in the video I explained about that I did not want to hit the little blue letters on the app that say go ahead and switch to hunger training. Let me check that just a second. Yeah, it says click here to start hunger training. So now it has reset my hunger trigger to 80, and I'm happy with that. This is not my first time to do data-driven fasting, and so I am comfortable starting my hunger training with a glucose of 80, and I know that as I try to chase that trigger, that's one of the phrases in the program, chase your trigger. You don't have to always meet it, but try to go in that direction. I'm going to go ahead and click here to start my official hunger training today, which is day 4 of the 30 days of data-driven fasting. So here I go and touching that. Click here to start hunger training. And so now it says that hunger training has started. And now my trigger is set at 80. And that's the number I will try to wait to reach before I go ahead and take in new fuel. But if I'm hungry, then I can go ahead and decide whether I'm going to fuel with fats or with carbs. Now, because of my TrimHealthyMama lifestyle that I've been living for since 2013, it's easy for me to choose one or the other of those fuels. If I was hungry and I was not down to a glucose number of 80, then the smart thing for me to do would be to choose to not add in fuel of fats or carbs, but to choose a protein-focused meal that has plenty of nutrients in it, but not necessarily a bunch of carbs or a bunch of fats. So, and that's what I'm going to do right now. I'm going to choose a TrimHealthyMama fuel pull type meal. I will put this information in the description box explaining more about the fuel types, the meal types, for those that don't know what TrimHealthyMama is. And that has been a great dietary resource for me since 2013. The only thing I change about TrimHealthyMama for myself is that I don't eat every 3 to 4 hours. I eat according to my glucose meter, what it tells me when I need to fuel, and based on what I've learned from data-driven fasting, I combine that information in, and so it's just a very beautiful mix of programs for me. So because I'm not hungry, what I'm going to do is I'm going to stick with the TrimHealthyMama fuel pull type meal. I'm going to make sure that I get a good amount of protein and a good amount of nutrients. So I'm going to put my meal together now. and I will show you the meal and explain that. So that'll be the next part of this video. Anyway, I just thought that was interesting that I'd gotten to 4:30 in the afternoon and I have absolutely no hunger. But I don't want to wait until this evening before bedtime when probably the hunger will hit, because I don't want to add in a bunch of food before bedtime. Ideally, I like to eat at least 3 hours before bedtime so that my food has time enough to digest. Right now it's 4:30, so 5:30, 6:30, 7:30, 8:30. If I went to bed at 8:30, I would be giving myself the 4 hours. So I'm going to turn off the video now and make my meal and enjoy my meal. A low fuel pulling, I like to call them munching on the muffin tops, TrimHealthyMama style meal. Again, that information will be in the description box. Here is the meal I made for myself. A cottage cheese sweetened with stevia with some freshly ground flaxseed, sliced strawberries, Brazil nuts for the selenium, a glass of kefir topped with nutmeg, and a little cup of my homemade Ningxia juice that I will explain in the description box. That was my meal, and this is the end of the day, so I'm going to wrap up this video. And when you watch it, you can check in the description box to find information about anything I've mentioned in the video, such as about the the Ningxia, my homemade Ningxia drink. I'll put the recipe in there. Not my idea. Another a TrimHealthyMama figured it out. So today is the end of day 4 of the Data-Driven Fasting Challenge. There's 30 days to the challenge. You can use whatever diet you want. I know I've mentioned TrimHealthyMama, obviously. That's my preferred diet, but you can use whatever diet you want with this method of using a glucose to help you decide when to eat and maybe help you refine what you're eating on your chosen eating plan. What else here? In case you need it, in the description box, there are links to optimizingnutrition.com, to the free resources packages, all the things that are free resources. There's a link to the paid classes, such as this $37 class that you could do with a group of people for 30 days. And one of the benefits of that is the weekend Zoom classes, because you get to ask your questions live, and then each Saturday, starting with the very first Saturday, which is day 1 of the 30 days of data-driven fasting, there's a live there to get you started, to give you an overview of what happens during the 4 weeks of the process. And again, I'll stick the chart up so you can see a visual of that. I think I have done a fairly thorough job for day 4. I'm sure well, it doesn't matter. I'm just doing the best that I can. And I will start over again tomorrow with a new video. So that's a wrap for video number 5 of 31 complete video, the set of 31 videos. And there's 31 because I made 1 extra on the front end just to get people started to know where they could get a glucose meter and stuff like that. So thank you for watching.